How y'all doing today? Hope everybody's doing good. If y'all been following my story, you know from my last video that I was in the lawn care business and lost all my yards all at one time and basically put me out of business. So now I'm hunting a new job. I had my CDL license for years, and at this time I was the fire chief at our volunteer fire department. Well, one of my firemen, I mean, I ain't looking down on him because we're all equal, you know, but I was the fire chief and he was one of the firemen. But one of my firemen had a construction company. He did dozer work and hauling dirt and construction. Well, I got to talking to him and he needed a truck driver and he hired me. He hired me to drive a Mack truck with a Palmer dirt bed on it, hauling dirt from a dirt pit to the job sites that we would go to. He mainly did cleared ground, and he would level the ground and get it ready to build a house on, what we'd call house pads. And that's what I started doing. We built a lot of house pads. Now, all I did was drive the truck. Every now and then, he would let me, you know, get on a piece of equipment. But I have to give it to this man. I had never driven an 18-wheeler before, and he took me under his wing and let me drive, which I'd been driving all types of equipment all my life, but never an 18-wheeler. So it took me a week or so to kind of get the hang of it. And everything worked out, you know. And it was like, I don't know, from the dirt pit to the job sites we were working on, normally we're working on, was about 45 minutes to an hour, you know, back and forth, all day, just back and forth, back and forth. And one day I pull up on this job site and he's on a dozer clearing woods, getting ready to build a house pad for his house in a fancy neighborhood. I'm talking about where all the rich people live. And he had called me. I was on my way back with another load of dirt. He called me, asked me, "Where are you at?" I told him I was on my way. He said, "Okay, hurry up and get here. I want to show you something." So when I got there, he come walking up to the truck with a trash bag. He said, "What do you think this is?" I looked over and smelled and looked in the trash bag, smelled out. There was a trash bag full of marijuana. I said, "What you gonna do with it?" He said, "I'm gonna throw it in this fire here and burn it, and get rid of it." And that's what he done. Well, late that evening, we seen a carload of teenage boys drive up, and they set off at a distance from us. Now, they didn't ever come up there where we was at. They stayed off at a distance, just sat there and looked at us. Well, the next morning, all of our porta-johns was turned over. Apparently we made them mad. They turned all the porta-johns over and all kinds of stuff. They wasn't happy with us. But that's just one of the things that happened during this time. But I drove for about 3 years, I think. And it was getting so repetitious, just back and forth, that same road, back and forth, all day long. And it got to the point where I was getting drowsy just because it was so boring, just going back and forth down the same road all day, every day, you know. And one day I'm going along and I kind of dozed off. When I woke up, there's another 18-wheeler right in front of me hitting his brakes, and I almost rammed into him. And I never told the boss man that, but I didn't hit him. I stopped in time. But about this time, there was another hurricane come through, and FEMA was hiring people to go work the aftermath of this hurricane. So I decided to go join up with FEMA because they were paying really good money, and I kind of got out of the trucking. It was an easy job. I was just afraid I was going to get too complacent. How you say it? Too compliant, complacent, whatever. Anyway, I was afraid I was going to get too bored with the job and end up having a wreck. So I decided I better get out of that truck and do something else. So I went to work with FEMA for several months after, I think it was Hurricane Ike. It went through Texas. So I went and worked with FEMA for several months, making pretty good money, helping people out with Hurricane Ike. I enjoyed that job. It was more of a sit behind a desk job, but I enjoyed it. But after we got through with the job we were doing, they told us to go on home, and they would call us out to go to another job. Well, that never happened. But while I was at that job, working with FEMA, I seen a man through his hotel room window, and every evening he would have his bed covered with papers, just stacks of papers. And I finally met him in the lobby one morning while we were all eating breakfast, and I asked him what he did for a living. He told me he was an insurance adjuster. So I asked him, how do you get into that? And he told me about it and all. So I decided to go to school to become an insurance adjuster. I had done quit my driving job. FEMA had done sent me home. So I was looking for the next thing. I went to school and become a licensed insurance adjuster. Well, this is going to be a short story today, but I'm trying to keep these stories in a chronological order as how and when everything happened. I know this story ain't that exciting, but it leads to the next story. That way you won't be lost when I tell you the next story and you wonder how I got from point A to point B. So y'all be good. Take care. If you have a story like this you want to tell, contact me. We'll do a online interview and I'll let you tell your story. But if you like this content, hit the subscribe button, the like button, and ring that bell. And if y'all have any comments, please let me know. Leave me a comment. I'm not no professional filmmaker, but I'll understand if y'all have criticisms or good words. Well, y'all take care and God bless. How y'all doing today? If y'all been following my story, you'll know from the last video I was in the lawn care and basically lost all my customers, and that put me out of business. So at this time in my life, I was searching around for a job, and I was the, let's start over.